So I gotta get two cameras. I gotta get that. Are we?
Shalom, everyone. Welcome to Live with Elder Kabir, where we are reminded to be faithful in the little. I'm the voice behind the scenes, Deacon David. Today, we'll be reacting to the recent interview that Elder was in, alongside with Pastor Dow, Pastor Muir, Elder Rob, and Brother TJ on the Jason Whitlock show Fearless. So make sure you watch all the way till the end.
All right. Welcome to the live stream here. Well, guys, I wanted to go over this. We had an amazing interview with Jason Whitlock on the show called Fearless, and so we're just going to do a reaction to this video. I had a great time on the show with Pastor Dow, Elder Rob Mathis, Pastor Daniel Muir, and Brother TJ. We had a great time. I felt that Jason, I felt like Jason did a good job. I thought he was fair. I thought he was not only fair, but he allowed us to tell our story without really any input, and without really trying to sway it. He gave Pastor Dow a lot of time to express his views on how he sees the word and how he walks in it and everything. So I don't think he did anything like Sports Illustrated. So I can.
What Sports Illustrated gave a one-sided narrative. So yeah, Jason definitely did give you guys more of an open format where you guys could speak. Elder, if I could ask you a quick question here before.
And if I may add too, I thought he was very respectful of us, compared to the Sports Illustrated. He was very respectful and very sincere in trying to really understand where we were coming from. Now, obviously there are going to be disagreement. He is a professing Christian, and but even in our disagreement, Jason did a very good job in being respectful. I believe we were respectful, and I've seen him even when he was dealing with the bishop from IUIC. I think he tried to take a jab at somebody, and I remember him checking him for that and say, "Hey, we're not here to do that. Just say your story." And so I just wanted to say he's very professional, and he took good care of us when we were there at the studio. Nice studio, by the way. And so anyway, I just wanted to just let you guys know, please. I hope you guys will go check that out. It was a good interview, and I thought that he did a very good job in allowing us to represent ourselves exactly the way we like to, the way that we feel that we represent Straitway Truth Ministry.
Elder, before we even start with the reactions or anything, I just wanted to ask you, what do you think that, what is it about maybe your message, Pastor, Straitway in general, or how this whole thing kind of came about? What is it that maybe Jason desired or wanted to have you guys on the show? What do you think that he's maybe relating with? Or obviously we've all seen the interview, but what do you think that it attracts him to want to speak to you guys?
Well, one of the things Jason has, and I should have gave you this picture here, but Jason has the Fearless has a mission statement, and let me read it to you. The mission statement for the Fearless is called Fearless Mission, but their show called Fearless It's a digital media platform promoting a culture of fearlessness, free speech, biblical truth, and patriotism. So this is their mission statement. And let me just read some of the description here. And I had to take a picture of it. One of it was masculinity created the freedom you take for granted. Compelling and comprehensive. Pity pays no bills. Thank God Jesus was masculine. God's truth, your truth. So he has a greater, okay, compelling and comprehensive. So he has a like a greater and a less sign. So compelling means greater. Compelling is greater than comprehensive. God's truth is greater than your truth. So you can see where we have a lot of similarities. Thank God, praise Jesus, embrace the Holy Spirit. Windshield is greater than rear view mirror. Accept the truth from wherever it comes. All solution starts in your mirror. Faith, fathers, family feud, America. We need a refill. Fueled. I don't know if I'm saying that word like
Fuel.
Gas it up, fueled. Yeah. And then he had another one. This is just the value of Fearless show. Be courageous, follow truth, be authentic, seek self-awareness, take responsibility. So, I mean, just a lot of his values and their mission. Straitway Truth Ministry hits that on so many levels. So we're very masculine. We're very Jesus based. We're very truth based. We're seeking the truth with all our heart. We're sincere. I mean, in so many, and so he really loved the fact that Straitway Truths represent the type of things that he's for. And so I think that's what I think that's what really attracts him to at least putting us on the show, because we represent what Fearless is all about. So that's why I actually my older brother, and I say my older brother, same mom, different dads, but I grew up seeing him as my older brother. But my older brother, he's the one that got me hip to Jason Whitlock. And because when I was coming into the truth, he says, man, you should listen to Jason Whitlock. He kind of is doing the same thing, kind of doing the same thing. And so, obviously for my sports, him being on ESPN and things of that nature. So I was hip to him. And then when he brought in, obviously the guy from the bishop from IUIC, and then Elder Rob Mathis reached out to him. And that's how we got on the show.
Yeah, I mean, and now we can see why he was trying to push so hard to get you to watch it. So it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, so
Elder, if it's okay, then we can move on to the reaction, guys. The description below has the original full interview. Please, after the show, go check it out if you haven't already, and if you have, watch it again. I mean, it helps Jason's channel and it promotes Straitway at the same time too. So make sure you support.
Make sure you share, like, and share with many people. This is a huge platform he has. He has over 200 subscribers. So like I said, I don't mind promoting his channel because like he said, he's about religious freedom. And that's the best thing about America, is that we do have the ability to worship our Most High Yah the way we choose to here in this country. So not a lot of countries you can do that. So he's promoting to the right types of stuff that helps what we're trying to do here in America.
Exactly. Elder, I'm going to play a couple clips here for you. Actually, a few clips. They're not very long. I'll let you listen to them. Obviously, you were there live in the interview, so it's no surprise to you. But I'll let you listen to them. Then I'll have a follow-up question right after, and then you'll take it away with your reaction. Sounds good?
Right. Let's do it.
Here's the first clip.
One of the things I took away was like, oh, I could see why this would be attractive to football players and anybody that comes from a more masculine profession or masculine mindset. It's like your church is catering to men as leaders, catering to these natural instincts that men have. And I would imagine that's why I've got four former NFL players here in studio with me today. But I would think, KGB, the masculine energy and the patriarchal energy is part of the attraction that you feel to the church?
I mean, it's most definitely an aspect of Straitway Truth Ministry of the masculine, because it's a patriarch ministry. But what attracted to me is the love of Christ and the love of the brethren.
So, Elder, we'll get into the masculinity part of it, but I wanted to ask you, what exactly did you mean? If you can expound on exactly what you were talking about when you said the love is what attracted you. What did you see when you first interacted with Straitway in any way that made you solidify in yourself like this is true love?
Well, let me start off with the scripture, if I may, and I'm just going to read it. You can find this in Matthew chapter 22, verse 37. And this will kind of explain when I tell you what I saw and why I thought that Straitway Truth Ministry, literally, the love is what attracted me to the ministry. Anyway, it says, Matthew 22, 37 says, Jesus said unto him, thou shalt love Yahweh thy Elohim with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment, to love Yah. And the second is like unto it, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all of the law and the prophet. Some people call it Old Testament. So every single law in the law and the prophets hang these two commandments, to love Yah and love your brother, right? Let me give you another. I want to share another one, and then I will answer that question. And guys, please, I see there's 50 people in there. Hit the like button if you guys can, please. And then the next one, hold on here. Let me get to here. This is in John chapter 15, verse 10. It says this. Verse 15, verse 9. I'm going to start at verse 9. It says, as the Father, this is Jesus saying, as the Father had loved me, so have I loved you, and continue you in my love. So how do we continue in your love, Jesus? And he goes on to say in verse 10, if you keep my commandments, mind you, this is the gospel, this is the New Testament. If you keep my commandments, you shall abide in my love. I'm trying to put emphasis on this stuff. Even as I have kept my Father's commandments. So Jesus gave us an examples on how to love the Father by keeping the commandments. So even as I have kept my Father's commandment and abide in his love, these things I have spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you and that your joy might be full. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love had no man than this, that a man laid down his life for his friends. All right. Now, so when I went to Straitway Truth Ministry, right, I went down there. I happened to go down there during the Feast of Trump. It was my first time at Straitway Truth Ministry. I went down there trying to get there. I knew it was the Feast of Trumpets, so I was trying to get there before the sun went down. I get there, and I was blown away. First of all, it was a bunch of men. You saw more men than you saw sisters, right? And you get there, they had their shofar, their horns, everybody was ready. And I'm looking, and people greeted me, they welcomed me, they hugged me. I've never experienced this type. I mean, I'm telling you, they hugged me, took the wind out of me, kissed me, gave me a holy kiss. I mean, they literally just love bombed me. I mean, they hugged me, kissed me. So I felt love initially. It wasn't a handshake. It was, hey, this is how we do it in Israel. And they grabbed me and hugged me like they knew me for years. They were happy to see me. I mean, it was better than going to a family reunion. I mean, I was welcome. I was loved. I was accepted. It was men, like I tell you. It was more. I didn't go around hugging any sisters in there. That they don't do that. It was only men that I was encountering with. Boom, 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 boom.
Hallelujah.
And then all of a sudden, the time came, pastor kind of said, and they start blowing horns. I mean, I'm like, and I was just blown away. Like, I'm like, these people are literally doing what's in this book. And when you ask them, why are you out here at night, right before the sun goes down, blowing the horn? Because we are commanded to. And because of our love for Jesus or for the Most High Yah, that's why we blow the horn, because it's commanded that we do that in the law and the prophets. I'm like, I never saw this in Christianity. And so when I said that, that's what attracted to me. Now, when you put in the masculinity part, led by men, all the churches I've ever been to was, yeah, you had a male pastor there, but for the most part, you could tell that the women were behind the scenes, turning the neck of the heads of that church. That's what the men really, was doing the will of their wives. Without us knowing that. That's what they were really doing. They weren't doing the will of the Father. They were doing, and they wouldn't preach on certain things because they didn't want to offend their wife. And because they didn't want to offend their wife, they kept it soft on the women. But they didn't mind getting hard on the brothers. They will preach hard on the brothers to the point you beat them so bad. It's like, man, who is there anything left to honor in that man? You know what I'm saying? You just left honoring women. So
Yeah.
anyway, Straitway Truth Ministry that's what I saw coming into the ministry, because I was aware of the commandment, the two greatest commandments, which all the commandments based on is it has to do with loving Yah or loving your brothers. And that's what the Old Testament, the law and the prophets literally is his instructions on how to love Yah and how to love your brother. That's
Exactly.
it. And so when they said that the law is done away with, you're literally saying that the law of love is done away with. And if the law of love is done away with, then you're saying that Jesus died so that we can hate each other now. And that's what Christianity basically shows me. But I don't want to get too much in, but that's what. And so watch the show. It was a great show.
Yeah.
But I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, I'm gonna, if it's okay, Elder, I'd like to read one quick scripture, and then I have one more question concerning the same topic here that we just reacted
Sure.
to. I'm gonna read John 13:35. By
Mm.
this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if you have love one to another. So obviously emphasizing exactly what you said there, Elder. Real quick, I do remember, just obviously because I know your story, Elder, and all that. Talk to us about what you told Pastor one of the first times you were on the land meeting Straitway, and you spoke and you said something to the effect of, I may have riches, but you guys have peace, and you experienced something there, specifically about peace, that also made you resonate and be like, this is where Yas people is. Please expound on that.
Well, obviously I've been in the top, like I said, I had the opportunity to be governor. I mean, if I wanted to, I really think if I ran to be governor of Wisconsin at that time, in the heights of my popularity, I think I would have won. I was very well connected in the Christian community on a national level. I was well connected just in Wisconsin, and been around a lot of people because of what I did in my previous life, playing in the NFL, being the all-time sack leader for over 10 years. And but I always felt like these people were fake. I always felt like I didn't belong, even though I had the money, even though I had the charisma to speak or whatever they liked about me, right? I just never felt like I felt like it was phony, fake. You couldn't really be real, And but when I got to Straitway Truth Ministry, I felt the peace that passes all understanding. They're in the boonies. They're in the middle in Lafayette, Tennessee. They're in the middle of nowhere, we will say, right? There's no lights, there's no glamours, there's no records. It's just out there in on farmland or whatever. And but when you get there, you see the love. The love is what I mean. Literally, before I even got to the land, you felt the peace. You could feel that Yah people was around the corner. You can feel it.
Yeah.
And when you get there, is because these people are keeping the commandments of the Most High Yah. You felt Yah's anointing on that land. You felt Yah's anointing on Pastor Dow. When I met Pastor Dow, yes, Pastor Dow is a man, just like me, flesh and blood. But you can see the anointing on that man. I've been around the greats of the likes of Brett Favre and I've been around presidents and president-elects and things of that nature. And I'm telling you, I know people, Pastor may be this guy in the boonies and has an accent, but the man has an anointing on him. You can tell that he is a man of the Most High Yah. I remember looking at Rob Davis, Elder Rob Mathis, and I remember one time when he first met Pastor, when he kind of met Pastor, we looked at each other. I remember he says, "Now that's a powerful man," and that's all he had to say, because I knew exactly what he's talking about. It was like, that's a powerful, because you can feel the power that's on that man. And pastors are real. I know people, people may think that pastor is a talker, and because that's what you see him in his dynamic when he has to talk. He's a pastor. He has to get the truth out. But pastor is a very humble and meek man. Like, I'm talking about in the truest sense. He is literally a meek and quiet man by nature. You can be in the car. I mean, you've been in the car with Pat. Okay.
Yeah.
Pastor can literally be in that car for hours and he won't say nothing. I mean, I'm talking, I'm trying, and he makes me want to be quiet, because I'm like, man, I don't want to. I know Pastor. He's a friend of mine. He's my brother, but he is my pastor too, and I respect him, and I love him. And Pastor was gracious enough to come and check on me when everybody left me for dead. He loved me. See, even in that, he loved me enough to come out of his busy schedule to come and check on me. So that's all I can say about the ministry. Their love, and no one has not shown me after 6 years that this ministry is bad. Everybody has accusations, but it's without a cause. It's literally without a cause. It's all rumors. It's all speculations, but there's not truth. And so, anyway, I hope I answered your question. I know I can.
No, that was well said. Thank you, Elder. That was very well said. Yeah, let's move on to the next reaction. I'd like to get your take here on this next clip here, Elder.
Read the Sports Illustrated article. A lot of it is built around KGB's relationship with his wife, and they blame the religious cult. They blame Straitway and Pastor Dow, basically, for the fallout of your marriage. But you're saying it happened even before that.
Oh, it was before that. I mean, it really started with the whole image of God. I was one time reading, it was in 1 Corinthians 11. It says the image of God was created, that man was created in the image of God. And I don't know why I didn't notice it before, but for whatever, I believe God just allowed me to see it differently, just really see it. And I remember telling my wife, I said, did you know as a woman, you weren't created as the image of God? And it got to her. And then, so we were going back, it started in May. So we were going back and forth, kind of trying to figure out this whole image of God. She felt like, no, we're equal. I said, no, it says the head of every man is Christ, and the head of every woman is man, and the head of Christ is God. We were going back and forth, and I was trying to find videos.
And Elder, we'll touch the image of Yah thing, but what I want to ask you is something that you didn't speak on the interview, but just knowing your story, and also because it was mentioned on certain blogs. We're not going to promote those blogs, but those blogs that talked about what was happening in your life in 2015, in your marriage specifically, when you were trying to get your CFP. If you can expound on that situation, because this goes even further back, because I know the accusation, and even the accusation is because he wanted to do polygyny, and that's not even the reason why things went the way they did. So let's go back all the way to 2015. What was going on in 2015?
Well, 2015, and I'm glad you asked that, Deacon. So 2015, I obviously I was out of the league for in 2008. Didn't go back into the league. I ended up building this house, this 30,000 square feet home for my family and for ministry purposes. And so in 2010, and then so for 5 years, I volunteered at the church. I volunteered at my children's school. I was on the board. I was doing a lot of volunteer because I didn't have to work to provide for my family anymore. I mean, my money literally was making money on its own just by investing, budgeting, doing the things that I do. And so I literally did not have to make money to provide my lifestyle, to provide for my children, to be a blessing to the church and things of that nature. But it gets old. I mean, I took my children to school. I was very involved in every aspect of their life. One of the things that my ex-wife at the time, she was my wife at the time, but my ex-wife at that time, she really did not like to share me. And she used to say, I don't want to have to share you with the world. And really, AKA, she didn't want to have to share me with the Most High Yah, because everything that I was about, the thing that took my time was just spreading the gospel. I kept on trying to do the work, what I believed was the work of the ministry or work of Jesus Christ. I was always trying to That's why I was involved in their school, because that was a Christian school. I was involved in church stuff. I was always involved in spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ. And she didn't like that. When we went on vacations, I'll be caught talking to people, trying to, get people saved. I've learned that you can't get anybody saved. God does the saving. but that was me, and she always talked about, I don't want to share you. And so she really wanted my time, and it just got to a point where I got to do something. But I remember one time my son, one of my children, I can't think of it at the time, who was it? But one of my son, I remember he would describe, he said, "Oh yeah, my dad doesn't work. He just sits in front of a computer all day," which, I'm sitting in front of a computer right now. And I do work as doing finance and stuff like that. And so my children did not see me working. And that bothered me, hearing that as a father, thinking that I got boys. And when I grew up, I saw my dad working. My dad was a plumber, so he worked with his hands. He got out. He had to leave and go do work. I used to work with my dad. I used to work with him. I was his helper. And I wanted to be a plumber when I was a little boy like my dad. And that's why I went to school for business, so I can go take his business to the next level. So when I heard that, man, that just hit me hard, because I didn't want my sons growing up, not because they didn't really remember me playing football. They were very young. I think when I was retired, my oldest son was 6 years old at the time. So he really didn't see me play. He didn't really see me play ball. Shalom, shalom, Elder Rufus. If Elder Rufus on here. But they didn't see me playing ball. So he didn't really see me go to work or remember that. And so it was important for me to make sure that they understand that a man needs to work to provide for things, because there's no guarantee that they're going to go and make it to the NFL. They got to understand that you got to go work. And so people kept on telling me at the time, because I was helping in my church, I was teaching people how to handle money God's way. I was teaching people how to budget, helping people to get out of debt. So I was really big in the church and trying to help people to tithe, help them to budget, how to save, and things of that nature. And at the time, my financial advisor said, "Have you ever thought about getting into the business? Because you have a very unique skill, the way you handle money, the way you look at money, the way it just that not everybody's like that." And I thought that everybody was like that, but I found out everybody's not like that. It's very rare. And you know that, Deacon, how I do things. Yeah. You look at me like, wow, you do that? I don't know how you do it. I always say, I don't know how you able to do things you do. But anyway, so that's when I decided to get my license to get into the financial industry. Eventually, that led to now me going after my CFP, because after you get your license, anybody can kind of get a license. I don't want to say that, but you can get into the business. But that didn't really give you the credibility that you knew what you're talking about. You had a license to be dangerous. And I remember at the time, the guy that I used to work with, he was trying to discourage me from getting my CFP. He said, "Man, it's hard. It's hard, man. I'm telling you." And another guy, he said he tried it, he quit. And I remember everybody in the industry, and they happen to be Caucasian, man. I don't know what's going on there, but I'm just telling you, that's just the facts, right? But I felt like they were discouraging me, said, "Just be a recruiter, recruit people, bring them in, and we'll take it from here." But they never wanted me to be a CFP. I felt that very strong. My wife at the time tried to come off more supportive of me, but I think maybe what she was hearing was that I would quit, because everybody that she respected said, "Man, it's hard. There's no way an athlete is going to go after this stuff." I happened to get a hold of a guy that used to play minor league baseball. I don't think he did major league baseball, but he got his CFP while he was playing minor league baseball. And it was that guy, and I can't think of his name. I feel bad, but it was that guy that encouraged me, says, "Hey, you can do it." And that voice, when he told me, "You can do it, but you're going to have to sacrifice, do the same thing you did in football, the same way you broke Reggie White's record. You need to take that same tenacity, and you need to take it in there and hit that books, and you can do it." And when I heard that, I finally says, "I'm going to go ahead and do it." But before I did that, at the time, the way I used to operate, I went to my wife. I told her, "Hey, this is going to require a lot of me. I'm going to have to put a lot on your shoulder, like typical duties, taking the children to school or picking them back up. And there was a lot of things I had to hand off to the children and things like that." I said, "But I really got to put a lot of time. It's got to be God, and then CFP is the second thing on my plate. I can't do all the things, date nights and all this stuff." And she was very supportive. In the beginning, I even came back again the next day. I said, "Are you rich?" She said, "I want you to do this. I support you." So then I went in on it. And I went in and I studied for over a year and did all the things, took the test, went to schooling, because I had to go to a schooling, financial schooling. And then eventually I had to go for the test, which was grueling. It was grueling, man. I'm telling you, it was harder than playing in the NFL, man. I was drinking so much coffee. I'm not even a coffee drinker, but I was drinking coffee just to keep my brain stimulated. And after going through all that, it created a lot of stress because now she's cooking for me. Now she's bringing me food, things that she didn't do before, being a wife. So that was so weird. So during the times I would take breaks in my study, I would go back and just watch videos just to check out, just to kind of get my brain, a break from studying. And so that's when I kind of ran into this different thing about the image of God or doing studying. And so that's how it was very stressful. It was the most stressful time up to that date. It was the most stressful time in our marriage, in our family ever been, is me going to school. And so that's where the tension came in. And then from there, I ran into the whole head covering thing. And then from there, head covering led to image of God. And then image of God led to head covering. And then eventually Straitway came in. So that was about it. I don't know if I answered your question.
No, that's good, and because I think when I think back at the blog, there was an admission at that point where, as much as there was support for you doing it, but really it was something being harbored in that they didn't want you to do it. She didn't want you to do it.
Secretly,
covertly, exactly.
Yeah. But
and
she didn't want to look like the non-supportive wife, right? And I asked her, Deacon, I went to her and I said, "Are you sure I don't have to do this?" She says, "No, I want you to do this. I got your back." And I'll even tell you that just being in this ministry and going through my divorce and going through dealing with the police, and you were here, you lived to see that. That right there was way more stressful than my CFP, man. Thinking, that was made sure. And I was married with, I'm with Sister Bree. She's my woman. And being in that situation, she and you guys as a community was very supportive. And I'm thinking like, man, I wonder what life would have looked like if I went through the CFP with this type of family. It would have been a much smoother transition or studying time, because I didn't have the stress of my wife is not happy, that all this stuff, and me trying to pass the test and having these two worlds struggling. But like when I'm with my family now, whatever I'm focused on, the support is there, and it's beautiful, And when I'm ready to see my woman, she's there for me. She's not saying, "Well, we don't spend enough time, and where have you been?" She's not in my ear nagging about me doing my purpose, being on purpose and stuff like that. But when I was in my Christian marriage, oh my goodness, it was, even during my football season, it was like that, right? The night before a game or the morning of the game. I'm like, are you free? I got a game. I got a big game here, and you're here nagging about something I'm not doing because of my work. The very thing that provides roof over your head, you're nagging me. So, like I said, it was very stressful, and it was really just her being a woman, being in her role. And she was lazy. She was a lazy woman. Everything was paid for. We had a cleaning lady, babysitters, everything that I guess a wealthy woman had. She had everything. She didn't have to do much. She slept around shop, slept, and fold clothes. That is what she was good for. And when I require her to do more, cook, serve me, be my help meet, I always used to say, "Hey, help me," like trying to remind her, "You are my help meet." So anyway, I don't want
that's I mean, I think it's safe to say we'll get to the next clip here. I'll just want to add this real quick. It's safe to say that Straitway was more so of a propelling factor and not the actual reason. She checked out a long time ago.
Oh yeah, years.
Good excuse, because it plays good to her story. But really, it was something in her heart that was long time in there, and it was just boiling, and it wasn't being truthful. So
it's normal. It's normal in Christian relationship. This is a normal protocol. They get unhappy. They put all this pressure on men, and they divorce them, and they justify that I'm not happy. So Christianity is a matriarch religion. It's revolved around the woman. When they say focus on the family, it's really focus on the woman. That's really what it is, So it should be focused on Jesus, and that's what Straitway Truth is about. Is focus on Yeshua HaMashiach. So
hallelujah,
he's our head.
That's right. Here's the next clip, Elder.
He won't allow you to see your kids?
Her in the state.
Because you're involved with Straitway.
Because I just wanted to learn about the Sabbath. And I wanted to do what the Bible actually said. So I lost everything. But I gained everything.
That right there, Elder. What do you think? And that's our brother TJ there, obviously, if anybody knows. But what do you think was going through Jason's mind? I mean, you left the man, or not you, but TJ at that time, and then you did follow up afterwards. You guys watched the whole interview, but he was left speechless in this moment. What do you think was going through his mind?
I've talked to, like I said, Jason was very respectful, very fair in his interview, even behind the scenes. Obviously he's a Christian and he has his, things he struggled. But the thing that he could not wrap his head around was, what's the big deal? Like, if you want to do something on another day, Saturday, so what? So he was just really blown away. I even got to talk to him a little bit last night, and he even mentioned how somebody that he knows thought maybe we moved too fast. And I said that I don't think we moved that fast. All we wanted to do is, if something is put on our heart and we want to go check it out, I don't know how slow you can move. I mean, like I said, Pastor Dow is not the type of man. Anybody that knows Pastor, when he preaches, if you don't know him, he comes off very rough. He comes off very masculine. And that's not what you're used to seeing in Christian churches. Even churches that think they're masculine, they still come off feminine. And so that's not something that you would just say, oh, I'm going to jump on in. This is something you have to kind of like, okay, this is different. This just by the way Pastor approaches this whole thing, the way he shares the message, it makes you have to take a second look and actually force you to look at the word. Like, wait a minute, ooh, that doesn't even sound right. I've not heard that. Let me go back and read. Oh shoot, it's in there. Nah, let me check that. Oh man, I mean, I to be honest with you, I wish I would have did what I did with Pastor Dow and Straitway Truth Ministry. I wish I would have done my due diligence with every other church I went to. When I went to Christianity, I would go to church, listen to the music, look at their facility. Boom, I was in there, member, and I gave all. I did not do my due diligence with any church. Just Straitway Truth Ministry is the first church I literally did my due diligence to make sure that this church was legit. I mean, mind you, it's in Tennessee, way far from me, 12-hour drive. And so I had to do my due diligence because he was different. He was literally different. But guess what? He was speaking that word. And so if people want to know, it's not like pastors asking us for money or tell us to give all. I mean, he just preaches the word. Now, the word tells you to do that. If you want to be my disciples, you have to forsake all. You forsake your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your wife, your children, yes, even your own life. The word says that. And pastor don't have a problem preaching those words. He doesn't say give to him. The Holy Spirit compels you to do what's right. So I don't know, but I hope I
I mean, I think you said it right there. I mean, the accusation being that you move too quickly, but what about the idea that these other people, these Christian people, move too quickly in judgment based off of maybe one video of criticism that may be against the ministry? And so how about moving too quick in judgment? I mean, it's something that at least Jason, speaking to you, is genuinely trying to understand. And I think, unfortunately, in your situation, I don't think you got that. I don't think you got that from the people that were surrounding you during that time, that they genuinely just wanted to understand where you were coming from. No. It was just no, it's wrong. Stay away from it. Focus on your wife.
I would say that, and I see Pastor Daniel here. Hey, shalom, blessings, Pastor Daniel. But no, this is, I would have to say, this is the first time that from a person who professed to be a Christian. I mean, there's been one, but this is the first time where I have a Christian who really took the time to really look at his Sports Illustrated, acts fair. I mean, he was fair. I mean, he didn't come in act like he was for us or against us. He just was neutral. And that's what journalism really is. When you see a good journalism, they're supposed to be neutral. They're supposed to keep themselves out. And actually, Jason Whitlock did a very good job in keeping himself out of it. Things that he was impressed with, he would say it. Why he was impressed with it? Because of his own personal values, and he made it clear these are his personal values and what he believed and why he liked it. But for the most part, Jason was fair. He was respectful. He was professional, and he allowed us to tell our story. And all that's all you can ask for. Now, those who have ears to hear are going to be the one to hear, and those who have eyes to see will be the one to see. I mean, you got here Elder Rufus. He even, I mean, and thank you so much, Elder. He says, I appreciate the kindness and the professionalism that Jason Whitlock showed Pastor Dow and the leaders at Straitway Truth Ministry. And so it was very clear that that Jason tried to stay out of it. He tried to stay out of it and allow us to tell our story. And I wasn't surprised because I saw how he was with Bishop Nathaniel. And he did the same thing with him. The only time I remember him checking him is when Nathaniel kind of went off script and even as hateful as Bishop Nathaniel was, and he tried to take a jab at the Jewish community. He stopped him and said, hey, just tell us about you. Let's not go off here. And so, like I said, I have nothing but good things to say about Jason Whitlock, on camera, off camera, very professional. And he's even willing to go out. And I believe he said he's going to go out and physically put boots on the ground. I don't think anybody in his situation has actually went out and go see Straitway Truth Ministry themselves. And he is being a true journalism, is willing to go in there. He's not worried about, he's going to go there and investigate himself.
Yeah.
Even my brother, who's in journalism or into the media stuff, he hasn't even been able to go out and do the same thing. So I have nothing but respect for Jason. And I think that when he comes back, he's going to just give his fair assessment. I don't know. We don't know what that is. It's just, he can see it for himself. He can see it on camera. Now he's going to see it when he actually put boots on the ground, what this is all about. He can see the women, and he's just going off of just the men, because right now, all he sees men representation right now. He sees none of our sisters, but when he sees the sister, he's going to be off. I would love to be there. I hope when he does go, I just want to see his.
That would be a good idea for you
like
to go down there when he goes down.
It'll be like, we may have to carry him out of the stretcher. He'll probably be so overwhelmed with he's talking about he's into masculinity, he's into patriarchally. Oh my goodness. Yeah. He's gonna think he's in patriotic heaven. He's like, wow. When the sisters show him reverence and respect just because he's a man, wow, he's gonna be like, man, can I come back again? Sure, come on down. You know what I'm saying?
That's the truth.
So So I hope, like I said, it was that's what he loved about it. He could see it on camera. He can see where the men sit and everything. And so I hope Jason do what I think he will do what he said he's going to do. I think he couldn't make it last time because he got sick or whatever. But I hope he does come out and check out Straitway Truth Ministry for himself. I can even say I even appreciated Jason Whitlock when he looked at the Hebrews to Negroes. At least he made an attempt. You had all these people reporting on Hebrew to Negro, and not one single person actually opened up the book or watched the film. He actually watched an hour, and I'm like, man, he did that, not even care what's in there, but man, he really tried to give it a bit. And he said, I couldn't find anything. I said, man, see, he got my respect right there. Yeah. See, that's respect, because he's not going to give his opinion without actually going in there and doing it. So he's fair. He's fair, respectful. And I'm hoping that when he goes down there, I think he's going to do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think even just, obviously we know what we spoke about last night, Elder. You did get in contact with Jason again, and he I don't know who reached out to who, but from my understanding, he came and checked in with you to make sure that, because they did do a reaction last night. He had some Christian pastors. And and we understand we're going on a Christian platform, so it's not a surprise. Yeah. We're not expecting them to 100% support, but so there are obviously some disagreements from the Christian perspective. But at least Jason came back to check and say, "Hey, do you believe it was fair?" I mean, I don't know about journalism too much, only what I see and the experience that we've had just recently with the Gazette, with Sports Illustrated.
Oh yeah, Gazette.
All this stuff, but no one ever came back to say, hey, how do you feel we did? I mean, he's actually at least taken the time to check in and say, hey, I want to make sure that I'm doing you guys, good service, and what was it fair? So I mean, it's just amazing.
I mean, and once again, like that's why I really appreciate him. And I can tell you, I mean, we don't agree on everything, and we don't and he doesn't even know what we agree or disagree yet. I mean, I saw the review, and I didn't agree with the pastors, but they were respectful, they were fair, and based off of what they knew. I hope they would be willing to meet with Pastor Dow and sit down, and let's start with the love of Jesus. Let's start. If that's our commonality, is Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ of the Bible, let's sit there and then let's go from there, and let's take it step by step. Are they willing to love us enough to go step by step and see? Let's see where we actually start dividing, and then we can see. Okay, are we going to divide on this? I mean, and if we're going to divide on this, show us. Are you going to love us enough to show us where we're wrong? And if you're not, and you can't give us theology or abstract or do eisegesis, trust me, Straitway Truth Ministry, we know about exegesis and eisegesis.
Yeah.
Pastor instilled that and taught us about how people put stuff in there that's not in there. But in Straitway, we take things out. Literally, what's in there, we take it out and absorb it and walk in that. And so, but like I said, I thought that even though, I mean, as much as I disagree, but they was fair from what they know. They don't know what we truly believe and everything. So I hope, the way Jason, pitched that question. He says, if they were here, what would you tell them? And some of the things he said. Now, one thing I know about Christianity, they say a lot of good stuff. They sound like this stuff, but they don't necessarily. It's rare for them to actually put boots on the ground and actually do what they say they're going to do. Now, Jason Whitlock, he's impressing me because he's actually doing the things that he said he will do. So I'm hoping that he will actually go on to the Straitway Truth Ministry, go check it out for himself because he said he would do it. I'm just holding him accountable to what he said, and I believe he will do it. I hope that he would. He kind of alluded bringing Pastor Dow back on the show again as a part 2, and so. I think that Straitway Truth Ministry lines up with the value and the mission of Fearless, because we are fearless. I told Jason, I said, Jason, if you want to see what fearless look like, Straitway Truth Ministry is fearless. We do not hesitate to be men. We are very free to be like men, talk like men, walk like men, smell like men. I mean, we're not controlled by our women. Our women are controlled by us. And it's at their free will. All the women that's a part of Straitway Truth Ministry, all the sisters, they choose to be here. They want to be around men. They want to be feminine. They want to be in their role. And men want to be in their role. If you don't want to be in your role, Straitway Truth Ministry is not going to be the place for you to go. If you want your wife to be in control, or you like your wife having the final say or being equal or being partners, then Straitway probably won't be the spot. But if you truly want a biblical relationship according to the Torah, according to the prophet, according to the whole Bible that we see, Straitway Truth Ministry is for that. We are about that book. And that's why I told Jason, if there's something that we're doing wrong, love us enough. I'm going to say again, love us enough to show us our ways. Pastor Dow many times has said, if you know somebody that's doing this thing better, come and tell us, so that we can, and Pastor said, I'll show you how to follow. And I believe Pastor Dow when he says that. When he says he would do that, I believe it without any doubt. Any doubt.
That's good. That's good. Well said, Elder. There's not too much going on in the chat in terms of questions. Let me just take a next gander here. It's a great point, Elder. As long as
Elder Rufus is right. He said, Elder Rufus said he will see real feminine women loving their role straight up. I mean, I'm telling you, if he actually goes and do that, and I believe he will, when he goes and see that, he will be. I mean, that I know it took me off. I've been going to church for over 16 years, seeing my mom growing up. Now I'm used to it, but when I saw that was the first time, I even surpassed what I even saw in Islamic church. I never saw women in their role. Like, it was like I was in a whole new world. I used to joke around in Narnia, like I was in a whole new world. Like, are we in America? Is this America? I thought you had to go to another country to see the things that I was seeing that day. I was just blown. I would walk into a room. I could be walking to a door. Another sister would stop and say, "Oh, sorry, sir." And then it was up to me. If I wanted to go, she followed. If I said, "No, you go," "Yes, sir," and she went. This ministry is just off the chain. You got Brother Lorenzo. He says here, you read.
Says that's a great point, Elder. As long as the people are fair, respectful, and transparent, these interviews/debates will be a real blessing to the masses. I agree.
And that's what's important, guys. So it's not about. I believe that Yah is using Jason Whitlock for such a time as this, and maybe his curiosity with his journalism and he's creating a platform or an opportunity for us to have a real discussion, and not just try to just drown us out with opinions but he's really. I mean, this is a professional. He's been doing this for many years, and I can see his professionalism. I can see how this man works. He is doing exactly what he loves to do, and that is doing real journalism, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and having real discussion. Read what Elder Rufus said.
Says, do you remember Whitlock while you were playing? Did he come off the same way back then?
Yes, I do remember him. I never was interviewed by him, but I remember seeing him on ESPN. But I never. This is the first time after my career is over that I actually get to meet him. But I remember seeing him in the locker room, on TV, on ESPN, and I always thought he was fair back then too. But back then, Elder Rufus, that back then it was a little bit more journalism. Today's journalism, it doesn't even. It's like a what they call these shows. What they call these shows, like a
reality
TV show now. It's all opinions. It's not even factual anymore. It's just the opinion of that person that's sitting in that seat and has a mic. Like I said, I was very impressed in how he allowed Pastor Dow to be able to the way he interviewed him. And that's one of the reasons I remember before the Berean moment, we used to do the Berean moment. I was trying to do that. Now I was coming from obviously a bias because I'm part of the ministry, but I was trying to be fair and everything and give Pastor the ability to be able to express how he feels about his role and his walk and the ministry and everything. And I know Pastor was very concerned with doing interviews like this because of how Sports Illustrated, perfect example, how they did things. And I think that that was a good warm up for this show because, like I said, I thought Jason Whitlock did a beautiful job in journalism in the sense of just being fair and respectful. So, guys, please go check it out. Help the views. The more people that see that, the more we can get the word out. One of the things that they kept concerning about us is how do Straitway Truth Ministry, being in Lafayette, Tennessee, how are they able to get the word out? The way we get the word out is this: YouTube. How did I find Straitway? YouTube.
Yeah.
How did TJ find it? YouTube. So YouTube is the tool that Yah has given us to go fishing. He's going to make it fishers of men. And so by you guys going out, checking out, let it run, and watch the interview, and the more views he's getting, the more you share it, it's going to get out. I've already shared it to people in Nigeria. I know I share it with people in the Philippines. Everywhere you can get it, get the word to spread out. And hey, it would not only get the word out, but it will also encourage Jason to say, hey, that was a good interview, and let's get them back on again. And two, I'll say this. One thing that I noticed about Jason now, back in days, I may be showing you guys how old I am, but I remember growing up seeing Donahue. And I remember Donahue, and I know he mentioned about Donahue, but I remember Donahue used to bring so many people. Now, I don't know if that's just how journalism was back then, but they brought in people that they didn't agree with, like Farrakhan and different people on the show. And that's what this kind of reminded me of when he was dealing with Bishop Nathaniel, the way he handled Pastor Dowd, the fact that he has his own personal belief, and he didn't let his own personal belief get in the way of the person he's interviewing. And so, like I said, it was well done. I think my brother told me, he says, man, you guys are making some traction. He said that was a very, very good interview. So guys, go check it out, help the cause. And this is just our way to spreading the gospel. You guys can all play a part, like it, and share it.
Elder, if I can just add one thing, I think, especially with the topic of evangelism, I think that it's funny because you get the approach of Christian evangelism almost in a crusader type of mentality where you have to go and just try to convince people and wrestle with the people, get on the streets, and that might be good to some extent, but you get that they're so aggressive in that nature, but their life doesn't match. And when we evangelize in the terms of we're an example first based on how we carry ourselves, when we go out, so we're in the world, not of it, but when we go out, people see our women, people see our how we carry ourselves, the level of submission, and it rebukes them. People stop and stare when Straitway saints go out into the public and present themselves, and they can't do nothing but stare and either admire or feel rebuked by it. And so I think that's better said in that aspect, where because at the end of the day, Yah's the one who adds to the body daily.
And I'll even say too that you're right. I mean, Yah does that, and I will even say that one of the things that that I love about our ministry is that we don't try to vex the strangers. Vex people who wants to be in this stuff. We don't just look, like Pastor said. We start with the flesh. Meaning who's true Israel, but we look at the spirit and those who Yah's dealing with. If Yah's allowing the Gentiles, the so-called Gentiles, or whoever the Gentiles are, to be able to receive the baptism of the Holy Spirit, who are we to deny them? Exactly. And so that's one thing I think he liked about Straitway Truth Ministry. He was blown away that it wasn't, and unfortunately, Hebrew Israelites they always tend to put black Hebrew Israelites, and I'm glad he didn't refer us to being a black Hebrew Israelites, but unfortunately, it's the black Hebrew Israelites, the people that people see on the street. They identify that all of Israel is like that, and that's not true. And so I'm glad that Jason really gave us an opportunity to be able to represent true Israel according to the Bible, not just trying to take something and turn it into a hate thing, but we are truly sharing the true gospel of Jesus Christ through love, through our obedience, not just saying love you and do whatever, but we're doing it through the love. So guys, go check out the video. Please go check it out.
Yeah, the link is in the description below, everyone. So please click on that link. And I would say because this does also help the algorithm, the more interactions the video gets, the more YouTube will push it. So don't just watch it and like it, but also comment. And I would encourage comment, so that way Jason really does move on this. I'm sure he will, but at least you can say we want part 2. So if anybody in here, go there and comment, say we want part 2. That would be really good. So then he'll know that, okay, people really want part 2. So Elder,
I do want to read this because Elder Rufus put that out there. Let me just read this in Matthew 23. He said the book speaks about how Christians evangelize. It says, "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you compass sea and land to make one proselyte, and when ye is made, you have made him twofold more a child of hell than yourself." And that is so true. They will move heaven and earth to make one proselyte, and then to make them even worse than the child of hell. So thank you so much, Elder Rufus, for sharing that. But that is clearly Christianity from my perspective. But like I said, I appreciate Jason, and I think that Jason's a truth seeker, and he's sincere about his mission, his vision, and he's not only saying it, he's actually doing what he believes, and he actually was very proud to show us what he believes and what this show is about. And I can say that I can see that he's doing that. So guys, go check it out, like it, comment, let them know you want a part 2, and let's see and let's be praying that Pastor Dow get another opportunity. I hope they can do a debate or whatever, but just get Pastor Dow out there again and to continue to spread this. Because I know a lot of athletes, former athletes respect Jason Whitley in that space. And so but it's just not about that, but just getting the word out all over. So anyway,
that's good, Elder. Thank you very much. I'll do my little outro here, and then we'll and then also right after give you the last words that you want to leave the saints with. So make sure you like, comment. Remember to visit straitway.com for resources and newsletters. If you're interested in fellowship with Straitway, you can call the dining hall and ask for Elder Becker. The number is 615-688-3025. And you can also visit straightway.com for contact information.
All right.
Elder,
All right, Saints.
that's-
Hey, I appreciate you guys coming on here with me. Please like, subscribe to this channel. This is your first time. And guys, just like I always say, guys, this is a pivotal time in the history of our time that we get to do this, to be a light to the world. So thank you guys so much. And remember to be faithful in the little things. Blessings and shalom, shalom.